Week 7 delivered us such chaos in college football, driving some fan bases absolutely crazy. We saw Death Valley. They got wild in LSU's overtime win to Ole Miss as we take a look at our own Josh Pate's power rankings for the loudest stadiums in college football. Death Valley ranks second to Neyland Stadium as the loudest college football atmosphere. Josh has Outson in Oregon at 3. I'd be curious to see what our former players on set have to say about that. But let's go ahead and welcome Josh Pate to the show, who is live for us out in Neyland Stadium, what he thinks is the loudest college football environment. Josh Pate's whole new Saturday tour is powered by Quick Trip. Josh, I'll let you have the first word here. Walk us through your thought process in making these rankings.
All right, so that's based on what I've experienced and when I've been in the building. Like the last time we were here 2 years ago, they played Alabama. I mean, Alabama is the biggest rival Tennessee has. They beat them for the first time, I mean, since a lot of us were legally able to drive. And so it was obviously a huge deal. So I've never heard a venue like that. Outson, just last week, it's not just recency bias, although the internet would tell you otherwise. Place was on fire, and people would disagree with me on Outson, and then you dig deep and you find out, oh, you've never been there. Okay, well, opinion kind of invalidated until you've been there. Whiteout at Penn State, absolutely up there. What else do we have? We had Happy Valley, like I just said. Also,
Bryant Denny is at 5.
And also, so Bama got a little reputation for a while because they committed the cardinal sin of winning too much, where folks got a little complacent. We were at that Georgia game a little while ago, and I don't know, maybe it's a new coaching staff, maybe it's like a re-energized fan base, maybe it was being an underdog to Georgia. Place sounded like I hadn't heard it since that LSU game in 2019, and before that, I don't know when's the last time I heard it like that. So Bama shot right back up the power rankings. This is, as always, a fluid situation, though.
You got Damien rolling his eyes over here when you brought up 2 years ago.
But no, he makes a good point, though, because, and I love my Bama fans. I love them to death. I love Bryant Denny Stadium. But it's only loud when they think you're going to lose. And that didn't happen. That don't happen too often. So, but Pate makes a really good point because it's all subjective and it's all based on what are the circumstances around the game. I can tell you a #1 versus #3 LSU versus Bama in Death Valley at night. You will not find a louder atmosphere in sports. I haven't been to any of the soccer matches over in England or across seas, but I can tell you this, you will not find a louder crowd. And then Tennessee, when they had us on the ropes a couple times, Neyland is up there. But I'll tell you somewhere that's super surprised. You guys would never guess this. Mississippi State has one of the loudest.
You get a headache.
But they got the cowbells. They got the cowbells, and I'm telling you, so whenever my junior year, they had us on the ropes. I think we ended up winning on a last-second touchdown by Devontae Smith. Go figure, right? But they had us on the ropes all game, and that last drive when we had the ball on offense, I mean, I'm talking, me and Jalen Hurts were closer than me and Danny are right now. And like, he's talking to me like, okay, the blitz protection. I'm like, I can't hear you. Like, come closer, come closer. He's like, we're face to face. I can't get any closer. So they're SEC primarily, I think, you know, based on the matchups and the games. You got your Bama, Georgia, you know, sometimes Florida, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia. I would be biased to say the SEC has the top 5. I have never been to Austin. I've never been out there. I've never been to Happy Valley. But I would say the SEC stadium, especially when Bama comes to town, they get extra loud.
Don't get snubbed.
I don't think there's like even an argument top to bottom. The SEC has the best environments to play in college football, without question. Unfortunately, one that made my list, but this is just historical perspective, and Damien might be too young to appreciate this. There's actually an environment that used to be the best that now might be the worst. The Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah,
the old Orange Bowl was absolutely, it was electric. And we talk about LSU at night, Baton Rouge at night. The old Orange Bowl at night, the stands would literally bounce up and down.
How tough was it as a player?
It was impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, I faced Warren Sapp, Ray Lewis. They were on the same defense at night in Miami. I threw 3 picks.
I was going to say, how did
I was like, give me the stat line. Give me the stat line.
So I'm going to blame the crowd and say it was all the crowd. Okay. It really is sad is that now they play, you know, at an NFL stadium, and they are trying to address it. There's no real solution. Now it's one of the worst atmospheres.
No question.
No, it's just, it's I hate saying that, but it's just the reality.
For me personally, my experience, I would throw in the old Orange Bowl as well, because it's just the structure of the stadium. Because you have some stadiums that are larger when it comes to capacity, but the noise does not stay in the stadium. Miami only held, well, I think capacity around 70,000, the old Orange Bowl, but the noise stayed in the stadium. And outside of the Orange Bowl, I would say Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Florida. Some of our battles, Florida State, Florida, was unbelievable. To your point, Damien, you look to your left, they can't hear you. You're yelling and it felt like the stadium was moving. And when they did that thing in the swamp where it's like, dun, dun,
We've heard enough. We've heard enough.
It's like the entire stadium.
Y'all are like reliving some of y'all's worst memories right now.
Is waving.
I don't want to go down that road.
In Death Valley, Clemson.
Yes, of course.
Clemson, some of our epic battles.
Did you see some of the clips from last weekend? That was wild. From Death Valley, did you see some of the clips? They were playing Lil Boosie and
Not that Death Valley.
Oh,
Clemson fans.
You know what? That has to go up there too. The real Death Valley. Okay. I was gonna say that was. I was wishing that I was there.
I want to throw one more out there.
Throw it out.
Just because B-Mac made a great point about capacity versus the way the stadium is built. So one thing I think that has capacity plus the way it's built keeps the noise in. Texas A&M. Aggie Land, Kyle Field, because it's built straight up. So you're fitting 105, 110,000 people in there, but the building goes straight up. So it feels like every single fan is just on top of you. So the fans in the nosebleeds that are you feel like you can hear it, you feel like you can feel it because there's a ton of people. The way the structure is formed, it keeps all that noise in there. So
plus that cult that comes to worship on Saturdays.
Not the C word.
They are very real.
No, I'm not gonna lie. And kind of like you said with the at Ben Hill Griffin where they do the dun. Well, at Aggieland they do this thing at the start of the fourth quarter where they start to sway. They lock arms and they sway. And I swear to God, it looks like the entire. I like it, Pate. It looks like the entire stadium is just shifting side to side. And it looks like it's going to collapse.
Pate, you were an honorary yell leader a couple weeks ago, right?
No way.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Really?
Hey, listen. When people ask you to take a picture, you take a picture. You know that as well as I do. I had the black T-shirt on, so there was no confusing me for them. But I will tell you guys now, you know they get Texas in there at the end of the year. And as of now, Texas about an 8 to an 8.5 point favorite. If that line holds, like if A&M stays competitive, that rivalry week, we don't know what the Iron Bowl is going to look like this year. FSU, Florida, nothing. USC maybe. Ohio State's favored by like 3 touchdowns against Michigan. That Texas A&M game, that one could get the national spotlight treatment. That place on that Saturday could like reintroduce itself nationally.
Josh, has there been a overrated stadium that you've gone to or visited that you had some high hopes? They talk up the fan base, the noise, the atmosphere, and it fell so short?
I think it's not fair to these folks. It was the Kansas State game a couple of years ago, but they got out to like a 21, 28-point lead. They won 49-0. I think to this point, it's the biggest blowout I've ever seen on the road in the tour that we go on. And so they were playing Oklahoma State. I had heard that Kansas State's one of these sneaky places out in the middle of nowhere, which I like. I love those kind of places. I didn't get to really hear it. I didn't get to experience it. So I left disappointed that day, but it was them winning so thoroughly that disappointed me. Outside of that, when we're on the road, we're going to these places at the Circle game that they've looked forward to all year. So very rarely, if ever, do I remember a scene disappointing. And also, like Michigan got the reputation for all the sound escaping, and it's a little more sweater vest, trust fund kind of crowd. And yet when we go up there, it's been the Ohio State game a couple of years in a row. So it's been even pretty loud and rabid up there.
Are you calling out Danny Kanell? He's taking shots at
colors. I can fit right in.
Wasn't it Cardell who said it was overrated to play at Ann Arbor?
I was there for the Texas game. I thought it's loud.
Right.
And I feel bad for him because I do think there is something about the acoustics. It also was during the day.
True.
Like at night, it makes a difference. I don't think it's one of the top 10.
I don't either.
And the thing is, the size. They have the largest stadium. The noise just does not stay in.
And it's not for lack of trying. Their students were awesome. They stood the whole game. They were yelling and screaming. I do think a lot of it comes in the acoustics.
Well, Pate, I want to ask, because you won't be disappointed today at Neyland Stadium. Talk about, what do you expect? How loud do you think it's going to be? How much of a factor do you think this crowd at Neyland Stadium is going to be for Jalen Milroe, Kalen DeBoer, and the Alabama Crimson Tide today?
It'll be really obnoxiously loud, like disrespectfully loud. But here's the thing, being around here a couple of days, and you guys have watched them just like I have over the past few weeks, getting shut out offensively in the first half, that rattles you. You know, it rattles a team, so it certainly can rattle a fan base. And you show up, and you're fully willing to buy in. Like, you're fully willing to go over the cliff, you'll be the 12th man and all that. If Bama's up 14-0, You know as well as I do, I got folks sitting in section 228 here who start to say, here we go again. I mean, it may take us 4 quarters to score 14 points. If they don't get off to a fast start, they can do the same thing. Bama can do the same thing to this place that Miami did at Florida in week 1, that Texas did at Michigan in week 2. Seen a couple of examples already this year of big dog teams going on the road, grab a lead early, and it just like, it rips the throat out of a fan base. In some cases, literally, because they will not make noise for you anymore. If they get a 10-0 lead, like if they have reason to believe, no, we're going to be in this thing for 4 quarters, you won't find a louder environment in the country today.